YouTube, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It is Friday afternoon and I'm at work, but I'm taking a lunch break and running a couple errands. Oh, it's a beautiful day to ride, man. It's supposed to be down to 29 degrees tomorrow, which for Florida, hey, there's Mike's weather report. One thing you can always count on my video is the weather report, for better or for worse. This afternoon we're gonna head down to, I'm actually heading from the office back home to my office. So realistically I'm not getting a break, just travel time, but we're gonna go return that radiator cap back to Napa, and I'm gonna see if I can find another radiator cap with the same size. Somebody commented on the last video, hey, why don't you just try to pressure check your coolant system? Well, two reasons. One, I don't know how to. I'm sure I could Google, YouTube search that, figure it out. Two, there's probably some kind of tool involved that I don't have. Again, $7 radiator cap. If it fixes it, it fixes it. If not, then I might look into something more complex, like a pressure check on the coolant system. So I want to talk about the Taste of Tampa series for a second. I got a lot of great feedback from that video, and I really appreciate that. The video didn't perform well at all, or at least it hasn't so far. It's only been out since last night, but so far from the get-go it is ranked 10 out of 10 on my video. You don't want your videos ranking that low. So I appreciate all the feedback. It kind of tells me a couple things. One, that people in general don't want that video, but two, the people who do watch my channel do want that video. So thanks for all of you who did look at it and who provided some feedback. What I will ask on that, I've had a lot of folks in a couple of different Discords reach out and give me all these suggestions. I am open to suggestions 100%. If there are some places you guys want to see, let me know. If I get enough of the same suggestions over and over again, that's a good key indicator that this is what people want to see. I got two thoughts on this. One, comment on the video. Don't tell me in Discord. I lose track of it, for one. Two, my YouTube channel is where my focus is. So I would ask that if you have comments on a topic of a video that I have, put that comment on the video in the comment section. I would really appreciate it. Those kind of interactions, believe it or not, actually help way more than people think. The more people are watching and the more people who engage in the content, so comments, likes, etc., those kind of things are what pushes that content out to other people. It makes them recommended. I don't want to shy away from comments, you know, outside of the video that the subject matter is in, but I'd rather put the focus inside of the video comments. I hope you can understand that position. I would just rather keep all that stuff inside of there. The second thought I had on this topic of the Mike's Taste of Tampa is that some folks are recommending like La Fiesta and Stein and Vine. Well, here I may do those. The problem is that I want to showcase some things that may not be on people's lists, things that aren't on my list necessarily. I feel like those are the folks that these folks who recommend these things are all part of the Shade Tree Army, and so am I. But you already know that place is recommended. You already probably want to go there because those places have been featured in Josh's videos. So I feel like me doing that doesn't really add any benefit to either one of us. I've never been to either one of those places. I'm just using those two as an example. And by all means, if enough people want me to go to those places, I'll probably end up going to those places. But I don't see any added value to it. If you're suggesting it, you probably already want to go there. Maybe you just want to hear my take on it and I'm reading it wrong. If so, let me know that too in the comments of this video. Also, a lot of you guys seem to really enjoy that I had my wife and even my grandson involved in that review process. I agree. I think having a second person there, especially my wife, somebody I spend all of my life with, I think having that second person there to to the review factor really helps give it some weight and adds a second perspective. Now, my wife and I agreed on our review of the place, but I think she came at it from a little bit of a different angle, and I do think that adds a whole lot of value to the overall review. So I'm going to try to get her to do all of those with me. She may not. There's one big factor is that my wife is really a shy person. You don't see her a lot in my videos because I see you guys as, you know, 2,300 friends that a lot of you haven't met before. She sees it as, oh my God, I'm talking to the entire internet all at once, and it makes her a little nervous. So I completely understand that, but I was glad she was willing to do that one with me, and I hope to see her in many more. What I am going to do is I think I'm going to, now that I can see all the feedback from those, again, man, I really appreciate it. I can't believe how many, that video's comments per view ratio is really high, and all the conversation that I've had about the topic of that video outside of it, like on Discord or whatever, has been really engaging. I think what I want to do, I'm gonna put together a small list. I don't know if I'm going to do it weekly or monthly. I'm going to put that list together, and I'm going to let my patrons kind of help me decide of that list what I'm going to do. And we might look at, you know, in order. Right now I've got 15 patrons. I really appreciate all of you guys, man. You guys are killing it. I really appreciate all that support. And like I told them inside of Patreon, I'm not spending that money. It's staying in there. And when we get enough to do something, we'll put it up to a vote on what we do with that money. Content related, community related, whatever it is. So we're gonna go return this radiator cap, maybe find a new one. Then I'm gonna go check the P.O. box. I don't think there's going to be anything in there, but I want to check it just to say, just in case, because I feel important when I check my P.O. box. And while I got you here, if you haven't already, hit that red subscribe button just below this video. We are still growing. It's looking good. I've got the goal of reaching 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2022. I got to figure out how to grow a little bit faster than I am now if I'm going to reach that goal. I know I can with your help. All right, let's go return this radiator cap, see if I can get the new one, then go check the post office box, grab some vape, and get home and finish out my work day. All right, boys. You know, sometimes you can go into a auto parts store and they'll have like the radiator caps lined up against the wall. That's not how NAPA does it. So the good thing about NAPA is that you can actually search Honda Goldwing in the NAPA database. The bad thing is that it has to be the exact, it has to be made for a Honda Goldwing in order for them to find it that way. A lot of these parts are made for other vehicles, and people have figured out over the years that, hey, we can use these for our Goldwings. It's not that, oh, NAPA carries a whole line of Goldwing parts. No, it's just not the case. Oh man, every time I get on this bike, I just can't believe how fun it is. It's just a whole lot of fun. It's got such a small profile. The motor's so much more powerful than that 650 was. Oh man, I mean, it's not a hot rod. It's not like a Rocket 3 or some bullshit like that, but there's plenty of ass when you need it. And I always need ass, baby. So line them up and let me have them. Let's get over to the P.O. box. Let's see if I have anything, and then we'll see you back at the house. I still don't remember my box number. I just remember it's the first big one up here, 274105. Well. How about that? I actually do got something. This is from Adventure Tomek. We talk to each other on Instagram, I believe. Awesome. We'll open that when we get home. Alright y'all, welcome back. It is Saturday, the next day, and a couple of developments. So, here's my coolant leak. It has gotten... it's gotten a little bit crazy. I've got the cap off, and somebody had mentioned in the last video, they commented below, why didn't you just pressure check the system? And honestly, I didn't really want to go that route. I thought if I could replace the cap and fix it, then I'd be okay. But since the cap has been off since Sunday, there's a rag in it, so it's not bullshit's not falling in there. Since it's been leaking with the cap off and the reservoir is completely empty, it's not the cap, most likely. I mean, I could test the cap as well, but so I did order a Mighty Vac motorcycle. I think it's an MV4510. It's specifically designed for checking the radiators on motorcycles. It'll be here Monday, but today we're going to rebuild the slave cylinder. I did one of these on the 1200 a few months ago before I sold it, so it shouldn't be too painful. That was also before I figured out how to do the center stand, so now that I'm able to do that, it's going to be way easier to get to. I think it's easier on the 1500 to bleed it once I'm done with the rebuild. So let's get to that. So first things first, I want to show you inside of this clutch reservoir what makes me think that it's leaking in the first place. Okay, so if you can see inside of here, this should be a nice clear yellow color. This is goop. This is not good. So that's a good indication there's a lot of contaminants. I'm gonna blind myself with this fucking light. So if there's contaminants here, that means they're in the whole system. So we're gonna get down there and get this thing started here. All right, so we gotta take these panels off. You've got a bleeder here for the slave cylinder, which is really handy because on the 1200, the bleeder was attached to the slave cylinder up under the bike, which for me made it really hard to get in there. This one's going to be loads easier. We're actually going to bleed this thing first instead of doing it through the banjo bowl. What is this? What's that too? My wife likes to keep water bottles in this fridge out here. There we go. And I can use that for my bleeding tubes. I'm just going to squeeze this clutch and get, there we go. I'm getting all the fluid out. But I'm going to show you the color here of this fluid once I get it all in the bottle, and you can kind of see what I was talking about up top when I was looking in the reservoir. Looks like when you had nothing but beer for a couple days, you take a piss. Look at that. That is not supposed to be that color, fam. I want to try my best to keep this all in here. So you've got your banjo bolt. I can barely see this, by the way. And I've got 1, 2, 3 other bolts here. I need to take all these off. I'm going to take this banjo bolt off first, but I'm going to move the camera out of the way because I don't want to drip any brake fluid onto the camera. All right, you boys missed it. I just busted the fuck out of my knuckles. It was pretty bad. There was a bolt holding. I'll show you where it's at. There's a bolt holding on the bleeder valve that I didn't account for. That I had to take off. Got 3 of these total. So I feel like he's done this before because these bolts look a lot newer than the motorcycle. You get up under here and your eyes get blocked. Once you break torque, they come out just finger loose. Break it loose with a flat head here. Okay. Should just come right out now. There we go, now we're making some traction. There we go, here it comes. Here it comes. Alrighty. There we go. So it mounts this way, right? And you can see at the bottom, that's where most of the gunk is. So it was definitely leaking. And all that gunk buildup tells me that it's a good thing that we decided to do this today. Yeah. So let's get this going. Alright, the compressor just turned off, but I have no doubt that as soon as I blow some air in here, it's going to turn right back on again. There we go. Yep, didn't take much at all. Oh boy. Would you look at that? That is plumb nasty, boys. Holy shit, that's nasty. Yeah, this is pretty nasty in here. And I'm out of brake cleaner. So I don't know what that orange goo is inside of here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's not pitted or anything or scored. It's just a lot of stains. It's really nasty. I'm gonna see if I can spray a little bit more out of there. I really hope you were able to see what I was seeing. when I showed you a few minutes ago? So I'm about to blow your mind, boys. I'm gonna use a little bit more brake cleaner in here. See if I can loosen up the rest of this shit. All right, now let's rebuild, shall we? All right, we can see this nasty old one here. It's just covered in bullshit, man. That's terrible. I mean, it's not anybody's fault. It just happens over time, right? We're gonna put a little brake fluid inside of here. Help lube it a little bit. Put a little bit around here. Nice and lubed up. There we go. Put a little inside of here. A little bit on the outside of this. Oil seal. Press it. Now these don't pop in, so they always feel kind of like, is it really on? Get the spring on there. Brake fluid around this seal. I'm going to take some more and I'm going to put it all inside of here. Try to lube it up a little bit. This is probably not good for your skin. I don't recommend this as part of your daily regimen. All right. Let's get this in nice and even. Nope, that's not even. There we go. Come on. There we go. There we go. Hey. Boop, 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 boop. That looks really good. How about that? Now we can see this rod here, the actuator rod that goes into the motor. This actually goes into this part. The rest of it was, I'm sorry, the clutch. Alright, let's see what we can do with this steel wool. I don't need it to be perfect. I just want it to look better than it does now. We got years of practice with this little motion here. About the same stroke too. A little bit of corrosion there. I'm not too worried about it because this part here is just going to be inside of that, so I'm not too concerned with it. This is the part that should be cleaner, at least in my opinion. Nobody said that. This is a part that's actually inside the clutch or engages the clutch. So I'm going to go put this back over there. We're going to get some grease. All right, I want to grease this rod up. I want to put a little grease on this rag here. Looks weird. So the guy that I watched the video to do this is from Goldwing Docks. And he says that the service manual says to put this grease in here before you put it together. But he said he doesn't like to do that because it contaminates, you know, inside the piston here, inside this cup. Guy seems to know what he's talking about. He's the owner, or at least one of the admins of the Goldwing Docks website, so I'm probably going to take his word for it. Yep, let's go put it back on the motorcycle, shall we? I had to do some pretty serious finagling to get this thing even started. It took me quite a while. I did contemplate just not putting this bolt in, but I don't know, man. I felt kind of bad about it. This is like a mount bolt for the stem that goes on the bleeder valve. So now it's secured. So I feel a lot better about having that done. All right, now we can see how nasty this is inside of here. I'm gonna clean this stuff out really good. Then we're gonna bleed this thing and we're gonna call it good. All right, we got her nice and clean in there. I've got all this covered up with a towel because this .4 is nasty. Oh, that looks so much better, man. So much better. All right, let's get down there and start bleeding. There we go. Look at that. We're getting it through.
Didn't we just do this not too long ago?
On the 1200, on the brown one.
Oh.
All right, no more bubbles in that one. All right, we're done. Put this little float back in here. We'll make sure this is going in all the way around. There we go. Eagle facing me. And we can see here, I've got a nice, exactly how it's supposed to be. I'm gonna put these panels back on. I might take it for a little test spin, even though I've got coolant. I did notice today, actually just now, that I've got coolant right here. So wherever it's leaking from, it's riding down the frame. So I got to get that shit fixed. I'm gonna put this stuff back together, go for a little test ride, and then yeah, we'll see you then. Alright fam, that's going to wrap this one up. It is Saturday at midnight, and once again I am shooting this outro as I'm editing. This is a longer video than I thought it was going to be, but I did want to give a big thank you to Adventure Tomek for my first mail. And yeah, it's really cool, man, going to the P.O. box and seeing that in there from you, so I really appreciate that. P.O. box is down below in the description, just like all my other links and whatnot. The Goldwing is getting there. The Goldwing is getting to where I wanted it to be when I first got it. I knew I wanted to change all the things that I said I was going to change, and I've almost got all of those done. The last thing on my list is either bleeding the rear brake or changing the brake pads and then bleeding the rear brakes. So we're almost there. Got this unexpected coolant leak, which coincidentally, when I got back from my test ride, I filled up the coolant, went on my test ride, very cold by the way, and that was, gosh, 2 o'clock this afternoon, 2:30, something like that. It's midnight. There's no trace of coolant under the bike right now. I'm sure that'll change. I'm sure in the morning there'll be some there, but we're going to tackle these problems as they come up. Like I've said before, I want this motorcycle to be stretched out as far as I can take it, whether that's 10,000 more miles or 100,000 more miles. I want to make this thing last. So I appreciate you coming along. If you stuck around this long, really thank you. Hats off to you. So until next time, we'll see you later.